to 30 miles per hour. Lows will drop below freezing. Tomorrow will be colder and windier behind the exiting system. Highs will be in the upper 40s to low 50s. North winds of 15 to 25, gusting to 35 miles per hour with lows in the mid-20s. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday warm back into the 70s to low 80s. Westerly winds at 15 to 25 miles per hour with higher gusts at times could elevate fire weather conditions. The next system coming from the northwest is timed to arrive Saturday night and Sunday with colder air and some minor rain or snow chances, most likely along and north of the Nebraska border. It's meteorologist Chris Schromick from the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
It's back, and it's the most popular promotion of the year. The NWKS Radio Bracket Challenge is here.
In the corner of 3.
Pick up a paper bracket at participating sponsor locations, fill it out, return it, and you could win a stack of cash for your hoops knowledge. No apps, no gimmicks, just bragging rights, buzzer beaters, and a chance to cash in. This year's NWKS Radio Bracket Challenge is proudly brought to you in part by
Twister's Bar and Grill, the Farmer State Bank, Triple R Insurance, and Hurl Chevrolet GMC.
The days are getting longer, the roads are calling, and it's a great time to upgrade your ride at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get 1.9% APR for 36 months on a 2026 GMC Terrain, the perfect SUV for wherever the road takes you. Need a truck? Take advantage of up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 with eligible trade-in. And for serious capability, get $500 bonus cash on a new 2026 GMC 3500. See the full lineup today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or online at hurlchev.com.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
At Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic, they believe in promoting healthier living through compassionate quality care. From state-of-the-art maternity care to life-saving emergency services, their dedicated team is there for you and your family. Whether it's managing diabetes, navigating recovery, or receiving specialized treatments, they're committed to your well-being. Discover the difference a community-focused hospital can make. Visit rayhospital.org today to learn more. Ray Community District Hospital and Clinic. Your health, our priority.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4!
It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer.
Give me my cane. I'll show you how to play this game.
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Covering it all from the preps to the pros.
Cowgirls hunting them, and they're finding them. Stargell with another 3.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
Pestaway LLC, Topside Portables and Pumping, Equity Bank, Epoxy, Quinter and Grinnell, and the Insurance Agency.
Let's go to work.
And that's hit deep to left, and it's going to blow the roof right off. Grand slam, Tatis.
3 seconds. Edmead launches that one over Williamson.
And banks it in.
It goes in for Hofstra.
SGA with 5. SGA step back 3. He's got it. 2.7 left. OKC by 3.
Another diving stop by Bobby Witt. Has he done it? You bet he has. Bobby Witt, dazzling for USA.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. We are back here on the Morning Blitz on this March the 10th. Hey, it's a cooler start to the morning than you kind of would have thought after just an absolutely beautiful day yesterday. My goodness, just a gorgeous day yesterday with record-setting highs throughout a majority of the listening area. I saw, 83 was the high in Hill City and 80s up north of the border. Just 77 the high here in Goodland. Still, though, I didn't see or hear exactly if those were record-setting days temperature-wise, but nonetheless, a very, very hot day yesterday. And we'll have another warm day today. Temperatures expected to get into the 70s once again, but a cool start to the morning here, at least outside the KLOE studios in Goodland, as temperatures currently sitting at 34 degrees, a little blustery out of the north, so a little windy. Could be a little light wind today out of the north, keeping those 70-degree temps a little bit cooler than how they might initially feel, and then just looking ahead, a little cooler day on Wednesday with some north winds and temperatures in the low 50s. And then we'll springboard back up into the 70s kind of the rest of the week until you get to, it looks like, I think Saturday's going to be really nice with highs around 80. And then I think Sunday, a chance of some cooler. Yeah, temperatures Sunday and Monday going to be in the 40s and 50s. It was kind of looking like it was going to be Saturday, Sunday, the cooler days. Now they're moving that back just about 24 hours or so. So there's a quick snapshot at your weather as we get set to roll here on this Tuesday, March the 10th. Hope everyone's having a great start to their day. If you are watching on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream, you'll notice it is only me on the show today. That is because our time with Connor Shue is done. I was informed yesterday that he is taking another position someplace else over on the East Coast. And so he is done with our time here in Northwest Kansas. Unfortunately, this is kind of becoming a trend. I started to say it is a trend. It's not becoming, it is a trend of us losing people to the show. And so that's just kind of the way it goes. But Connor Shue, we thank him for his time and his service here with his coverage of news and also, of course, Colby High School athletics and his help here on the Morning Blitz. So thank you to Connor for being a part of the program and being a part of our staff here for, the last 6-7 months. But he is off to other things. And so for the time being, you just get yours truly. I know that's definitely not as much fun for the listeners as having two people having a conversation or something along those lines. So I apologize for that, but kind of out of my hands. Not really much I can do for that. But once again, thank you to Connor Shue for the service that he provided here on the show. Enjoyed having him on, enjoyed our conversations, and thank you to him and wish him nothing but the best as he pursues another job in minor league baseball, I was told. So anyway, we got a full show ahead today. One of my favorite guests, Henry Greenstein from KUSports.com, will be stopping by the program today. We'll be visiting with him about the Big 12, a lot about Big 12 basketball. The Big 12 basketball postseason honors came out yesterday. We'll talk, KU was well represented. We'll discuss that with Henry. We'll discuss thoughts on the Jayhawks as they get set to begin Big 12 tournament play on Thursday. They get a double bye before they have their first game. And we'll talk on the Big 12 and on things kind of about the NCAA tournament as we get closer to it each and every day and where that may put Kansas and some other Big 12 teams. So we will get to all that. And Henry's just a great conversation as well. So he'll be coming up here on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream in about 20 minutes or so from now. A little bit later on in the program, we'll dive into, NFL free agency. I think today is the official first day for the NFL league. Like you can officially sign. I think it's today. I think it is. Nonetheless, there were a ton of deals made yesterday for both the Chiefs and for the Broncos. And there were tons of other deals around the NFL. So we will get to some big free agency moves that don't have to do with the Chiefs and the Broncos. We'll get to those earlier in the program, but there were some crazy ones yesterday in the NFL. So we'll talk NFL free agency and where you'll see new faces in new places coming up for the 2026 NFL season. And there's a lot of it, as there usually is this time of year. So we will get to all that coming up a little bit later on in the program. As always, the F&B Bank text line is open at 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the Morning Blitz, if you'd like to put in your thoughts, your comments, your questions, would love to have your participation, particularly on days when I am by myself. It's a whole lot more fun even to have a conversation with someone who is texting in rather than just visiting with myself about things that I think I find fascinating. So once again, listeners, if you want to do your part, hit us up on the FE Bank text line at 785-899-2222. Or you can comment, of course, on social media, Facebook, X, YouTube. You can put your comments there. If you're watching on the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream, we can see those comments and questions as well. So hit us up throughout the program. Yesterday, I would say it was probably one of the more newsier days that I can remember in the last month or two. There was a ton of news, and so tons of things to get to here in our first segment. And so let's get to it all with another edition of the Front Page.
Read all about it. Read all about it.
The top stories of today.
I got the early edition, hot off the press.
It's the Front Page on the Morning Blitz.
Front page, really?
Well, I'm going to start with the big headline, and that would be that state basketball begins today around the state. So you've got just two regional teams, I would say, for the most part, in action today. The Oakley girls and the Weskin boys are in action today. The Oakley girls play at noon Central Time at Salina's Tony Pizza's Event Center against the 4-seed Eureka in the 4-5 game. That is coming up today at noon. I read somewhere that it's always fascinating to see the Keisha Covered and those guys come out with some interesting, those kind of the interesting little factoids and notes about the teams that I don't know. I don't keep track of, but it's fun to see. I think Oakley girls are back in the state tournament for the first time in 15 years. They're back at the state basketball tournament for the girls. They won it, I think, in 2007. Great year, by the way. I graduated high school that year. They won it in 2007, but they're back in the state tournament for the first time in 15 years. Are the Lady Plainsmen. They get Eureka. And it was a great story this year for Oakley, if you think about it. I mean, there was a game this year they lost by 30-plus points to Hoxie, and they were able to get the best of the Lady Indians in their sub-state championship game to punch their ticket to state. So they didn't win the battle, but I guess they won the war is the best way to put it there for the Oakley Lady Plainsmen, and they play today. First game of the day, open things up for the Tony Pizza's Event Center in Salina, noon Central Time tip-off between Oakley and Eureka. Best of luck to the Lady Plainsmen here today. Another team that is in action from an area, the Weskin boys, back in state for the first time, I think, in 22 years. I think 2004 was the last time the Weskin boys went to the state basketball tournament. So it'd been a while for them, too. They had an amazing comeback against Wheatland Grinnell, came all the way back, went to overtime, won the game. Of course, they've had great success on the gridiron the last couple of years, runners-up this previous fall, state champions 2 years ago, and now they're taking on Cunningham, who, once again, I think maybe that's the team they lost to in the state championship game this year. I could be wrong. I certainly could be wrong on that, but something about that stands out in my mind. Nonetheless, they take on Cunningham in the 1A D2 boys first-round game. 6 o'clock Central Time tip-off from Dodge City's United Wireless Arena, which, by the way, is the least utilized arena of any of the designated locations that Keisha put forth to be able to host a quarterfinal game. It is no doubt the least amount. They only have a total of 5 games getting played from the United Wireless Arena in Dodge City. And more thoughts on that in a little bit. Other games that are interesting today. How about probably a couple of boys' games I think are very interesting, have to do with the GWAC at the Tony Pizza's Event Center in Salina at 4 o'clock Central Time today. You've got Holcomb, the 4-seed, taking on the 5-seed Silver Lake. That's a fascinating game. Seen both teams play this year. Holcomb, of course, has got a great team, a very well-balanced team, well-coached by Chad Novak. It had been a while, I think, since the Holcomb boys had been to the state tournament. So it'd been a while, like maybe 2019, 2018. It'd been a while since they had been to the state tournament. But they get Silver Lake, and Silver Lake is a really good basketball team. Well coached by Shannon Kruger. Dane Johnson, who a lot of Goodland faithful remember from the semifinal matchup last year in the boys state tournament. He's in his senior year. By the way, he now is the all-time leading scorer at Silver Lake, surpassing the great Lon Kruger, which has been a fun storyline to kind of see from afar. But Dane Johnson is an absolute star. They have some other really good players around him. but Holcomb is a really good team. That is a fascinating game at 4 o'clock today between Holcomb and Silver Lake and boys 3A. Some other Tuesday matchups. How about another GWAC boys team on the floor? Scott City in the state tournament for the first time in a while. Of course, had that dominant run back in the mid 2005 through 2010, 12. Had a great, maybe even a little bit longer than that. They're back in the state tournament for the first time in a while. They're the 7 seed. They are at Friends University in Wichita. Unfortunately, they have to take on the 2 seed Heston. And Heston, of course, has been the powerhouse program in 3A boys now, it seems like, for the last handful to almost 10 years. So that's a tough draw for Scott City. Hopefully their hot 3-point shooting will help them prevail in that game coming up here today. That's once again 6 o'clock Central Time from Friends University in Wichita. And those are your area games today that are taking place. I should say area games and also interesting games I find fascinating taking place here today across multiple different sites. I did think it was interesting. Sports in Kansas did a social media post question about their thoughts on the state tournament, and it's funny to go through the comments because there is a mass majority of people that hate it, including coaches and athletic directors, which I'm not shocked. I've heard other coaches and athletic directors say how much they don't like it, but posting on it as well, how much they don't like the state format. Now, like I said, you look at this, there is some good, you go to Coke Arena has got games from noon through pretty much, I'm guessing, 10 o'clock each of the next 2 days. Dodge City United Wireless Arena has 2 games today, 3 games tomorrow. They didn't utilize that, Jim, very much because there probably wasn't as many teams from Western Kansas. But, Tony's Pizza and Event Center's got, what is it, starting at noon through 8 today and noon through 8 tomorrow. They've got a full slate. It's just nuts. And there's no way they're going to be able to stay on track with the schedule, I don't think. I think they could get a little bit behind in some areas. We'll see. But, yeah, it's been kind of funny to read the comments because I think a lot of people didn't like it before it's here, and now it's here and they don't like it even more. So it's been fascinating to see people talk about the state tournaments and all that stuff. So, yeah, just absolutely nuts. Listener Michael chiming in about Coach Cheryl Martin, who I believe is the head coach at Oak Cliff. I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Michael. But said she was a state champion at Grinnell back in the day, knows how to win, old school grit. It was just a matter of time before the girls got back to state tournament underneath her coaching. Yeah, so best of luck to the Lady Plainsman coach Cheryl Martin today as they begin their tournament. So, yeah. Great stuff. Like I said, that's the state basketball tournament gets going today around the state with a majority of games being played in the middle of the state, Coke Arena, Salina, those areas, and then further east. And like I said, just 5 games over at Dodge City's United Wireless Arena over the next 2 days. So weird. It's such a weird state tournament. Moving on, let's talk a little bit about the Big 12 and their conference honors were released yesterday. Kansas very well represented. Kansas had a first-team selection in Flory Badunga and a second-team selection in Darren Peterson, an honorable mention selection in Melvin Council Jr. Flory Badunga was on the all-defensive team, and Darren Peterson was on the all-freshman team. It was announced, and then the all-newcomer team, Melvin Council Jr. was on there as well. I don't have any problems with these. I really don't. I think they're probably well placed. Darren Peterson certainly could have been an all Big 12 first team guy if he would have played more throughout the season, but he didn't play enough, I think, in my personal opinion. So he ends up on the second team, but there's no doubt that he is a first team caliber type of guy. But just because of the minutes he played, he ends up on the second team. So Kansas was very much well represented. I think it was great that the defensive player of the year was Flory Badunga. He was fantastic. This year on the defensive end with his ability to block shots. He was awesome. So no doubt about it that he should have been the defensive player of the year. And I do think that the newcomer of the year should have been Melvin Council Jr. His impact that he made for Kansas basketball, in particular, kind of around when kind of conference play kind of got going, maybe games 3, 4, 5 through 10. He was so impactful for them. He carried that team for the while when Darren Peterson was trying to figure out if he wanted to play minutes or not. He did such a great job, and he was such a unifier on that team. And so newcomer of the year, no doubt, should have probably been Melvin Council Jr. there at Kansas. He was fantastic. And in such a massive conference, to kind of have as many guys mention the spot as a real feather in the cap to Coach Self and to KU. Kansas State had one person honored. I'll let you guess. That was Kansas State's own honorable mention. I think he was honorable mention player. That was PJ Haggerty. And think about it. PJ Haggerty was one of the top scorers, in the conference at like 23 points per game. And he's honorable mention. That's where he ends up. Now, this begins the old adage of, do you have to have success on your team in order to be higher up in like first and second, third place? I believe you have to have that. If you are you can put up dominant numbers, but if you don't have the success as a team with the wins and losses, that usually knocks you down a peg. You have to be just absolutely unbelievable, like scoring like 45 or 40 points per game and be on a bad team in order to be honored like in the first or second team. Otherwise, you're going to be honorable mention. So PJ Haggerty was an honorable mention selection. Colorado's Isaiah Johnson was an honorable mention selection. Pretty much every team in the conference gets at least one honorable mention selection. I was surprised to see that Isaiah Johnson was not on the all-freshman team. That was surprising to me. Now, of course, when you look at the players that are on the all-freshman team, you probably understand why. Braden Burries, Koa Pete, AJ DeBonsa, Kingston Flemings, and Darren Peterson. That was the all-freshman team. All those guys are amazing and probably could be playing in the NBA next year. Isaiah Johnson, though, I think could have been on the all-freshman team. He was a really, really good player for Colorado. So that was maybe my only kind of little gripe, I guess. If I wanted to say anything, I thought, well, how come he wasn't on the all-freshman team? But they probably wanted to keep that there a little bit. Other first-team selections in the Big 12, you had Jaden Bradley, Braden Burries, Monty Krivas from Arizona, DeBonsa from BYU, Emmanuel Sharp and Kingston Flemings from Houston, Joshua Jefferson from Iowa State, Christian Anderson of Texas Tech, and JT Toppin of Texas Tech to join Flory Badunga on the first team. There were a couple of Iowa State guys in Monchilovich and Tatum Lipsey, as well as Cincinnati's Baba Miller, Richie Saunders from BYU. Despite getting injured kind of halfway through conference play, he made the second team with Darren Peterson. You look at the third team. I mean, Koa Pete's up there with Rob Wright of BYU. There were some really good players that made the third team. That just tells you how deep this team was. Player of the year was Jaden Bradley of Arizona. Scholar Athlete of the Year, Taylor Lipsey. AJ DeBonsa was the Freshman of the Year. Newcomer of the Year, Melvin Consul Jr. Six-man award goes to Toby Awaka from Arizona. Definitely deserved that. Most improved with Christian Anderson of Texas Tech. And the Coach of the Year, Tommy Lloyd of Arizona. He was the Big 12 Coach of the Year. So, once again, well represented was Kansas, and congratulations to those guys. And, of course, PJ Haggerty and Isaiah Johnson for K-State and Colorado getting their name mentioned in the Big 12 conference honors, and it's a deep, deep conference this year for sure. Let's see here. Moving on the front page. Big 12 basketball does begin today. You've got first round action, kind of those, I don't know if you would call it first round or kind of play-in game, if you want to call it that. First round action today for the Big 12. The first round, it'll start off today with Baylor. It's Baylor against Arizona State. That game will tip off first, and then followed by Utah and, oh gosh, why can I not see this? The graphic is very, very small. I'm trying to pull up this image, and it's extremely small. Let's see if I can get this better. Same thing. Cincinnati. There we go. Utah, Cincinnati in the second game of the day. And then in the later games today, you've got K-State taking on BYU that's the 15 against the 10. And then the nightcap game, you've got Oklahoma State against Colorado. I think all these games ought to be super competitive. We'll see about K-State, BYU. K-State, BYU got the best of Kansas State in the season. I think it was the conference opener when they met. So that could be a challenge. I don't know. K-State it just depends, I guess, if they can make more shots on the other team, because we know defensively they're not going to do much. But I think the other games, Oklahoma State, Colorado could be very entertaining in the late night game. Should be very fascinating basketball games today in the Big 12 as that tournament gets underway. But once again, you've got 100 points to the ride. You can listen to K-State basketball today against BYU on 100.3 the ride. I think that game tips at 6 o'clock Central. Yeah, 6 Central tip time. The Colorado game is at 7:30 Mountain Time for our Mountain Time listeners. All these games, by the way, in the first round are on ESPN Plus. They're on the Plus today is where they are at. And then real quickly, before we get to our first break, tons of moves yesterday in free agency, even for the Chiefs and the Broncos. Probably the highlight of the day, I think, was yours truly making the correct prediction that the Kansas City Chiefs, if they need a running back, and I heard the news that Kenneth Walker was not going to re-sign with the Seahawks, they weren't going to re-sign him. Why in the world don't you just go after him? And that's exactly what the Kansas City Chiefs did. They signed the Super Bowl MVP, Kenneth Walker III, to a 3-year deal worth more than $43 million. I still think he's got a lot of tread left on the tires, personally. He wasn't the full-time guy in Seattle, except for maybe a little bit of time this year. Showed amazing patience at the line of scrimmage, running the ball, find that ability to kind of wait and then go. He was really good. He runs tough when he's got to be between the tackles, and he's got some okay speed on the outside. I really love this signing by the Chiefs. But he went out and gets Kenneth Walker III, does Brett Veach and the Chiefs. They also add a big defensive tackle. I don't know how to say his name. Is it Curious Tonga? Big guy, 335 pounds. He is just an absolute tank in the middle of that defensive line. So they, they get him. Trying to see what, and then they do sign Travis Kelce to a 1-year, $12 million deal for him to stay in his 14th season. They keep Tyquan Thornton at a 2-year deal with $11 million. He had a really good kind of end of the season there for the Chiefs. Aloy Gilman, a big safety for the defense. 3 years, $24.75 million. They signed him yesterday. The Chiefs very active on day one there of free agency. But like I said, I think the big one was getting Kenneth Walker III. That was a huge signing for them. Then, not to be outdone, the Denver Broncos did some work yesterday as well. They decided to keep J.K. Dobbins and sign him to a 2-year deal worth around $20 million. If he's healthy, he's really, really good. That's for sure. If he's not, it's a little tough. Might not be a great signing, but a 2-year, $20 million deal. They keep J.K. Dobbins. Hopefully he can stay healthy. I think it's a good signing there for the Broncos. And then they did some work at the linebacker unit. They signed a 2-year contract with Alex Singleton while they released Dre Greenlaw after signing him to a 1-year, after just 1 year, after signing a 3-year, $31.5 million, which I find a little interesting. I would be interested to hear what Broncos fans think of that, because I think a lot of people like Dre Greenlaw, but maybe not. Nonetheless, Greenlaw is gone. Alex Singleton remains, and J.K. Dobbins remains as well. And, of course, they also, I think, earlier announced a new deal with, I think, Adam Troutman, and they made a few other minor deals as well. But those were kind of the bigger moves between the Chiefs and the Broncos on free agency first day yesterday. So, like I said, I thought the big story there was, of course, the signing of Kenneth Walker, getting him there. That was pretty interesting. And Michael agrees. He says, yes, not happy about the Dre Greenlaw getting released after 1 year and a 3-year deal. So it was very busy yesterday. We'll actually touch more on the NFL free agency in our third segment. There's a few other ones I want to highlight that did not do with the Broncos or the Chiefs that are from around the league that I thought were very fascinating. So anyway, we got to get to a break. It is 7:32 Mountain, 8:32 Central Time here on a Tuesday, March the 10th. Once again, got a little cooler start to the day. Temperatures in the mid to upper 30s with a little breeze out of the north, but going to be temperatures in around the upper 60s, low 70s here today on the high plains. We'll take a break, come back. Our good friend Henry Greenstein of KUSports.com joins the show next. We'll touch with him about all great things KU athletics. You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
At F&B Bank, we believe local businesses are the heart of our community. That's why we're more than just your bank. We're your neighbor, your customer, and your biggest supporter. From the corner cafe to the hardware store downtown, we're walking the same streets, shopping the same shops, and investing in the same future, yours. We're here, we're local, and we're always in your corner. F&B Bank, Banking built on community, member FDIC.
Are pests making your home or business uncomfortable? Call Pestaway in Goodland, Kansas, serving all of Northwest Kansas. They provide top-notch pest control services to keep your space safe and pest-free. From ants to rodents, termites to spiders, our expert team is here to help with effective, safe, and affordable pest control solutions. Don't wait. Call Pestaway today at 785-728-7166 for fast, reliable service. Your home or business deserves the best protection.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning. This is Tom Saluto with the Anderson Trade Group with your overnight market report on March 10th. In the overnight session, May corn was down 1.5 at 4.52. July corn down 1.5 at 4.63.5, and Sep corn down 2 at 4.66.25. May soybeans are up 3 at 11.99. July soybeans up 3 at 12.12, and August up 3.5 at 11.99. May KC wheat unchanged at 6.20. July unchanged at 6.33, and Sep KC wheat unchanged at 6.48. Dow Jones currently down 100 points at 47,665. The S&P is down 12 points at 6,788. NASDAQ is down 12 points at 24,978. Gold is up 105 points at 52.06 an ounce. Silver is up 5 points at 89 an ounce. And crude oil is down 6% at 89.5 barrel. If you're out in the Colorado area and have any grain to market or risk management questions, please call John Hanke or John Stiles at 970-744-4484, or you can call the Overland Park office, myself, Tom Saluto, Jared Law, or Tyler Ghosh at 913-748-3000. Thank you.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, and cleaner American fuel. This message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
From the locker room to your morning commute, it's all sports, all the time.
That's what I'm talking about. Sport!
On the Morning Blitz.
Something I accidentally skipped over today on the front page, and I forgot to do that, was there's college basketball today at the JUCO Level 2. Forgot to mention Colby Community College and Fort Hays Tech Northwest men and women, Colby Community College women and Fort Hays Tech Northwest men on the hardwood today in the second round of the Region 6 basketball tournament, both on the road. Colby Community College women going to Hutch tonight. That's a 6 o'clock Central Time tip. Fort Hays Tech Northwest men on the road at El Dorado taking on Butler. That is a 7:30 tip there. So best luck to those teams. They've been in the second round of the Region 6 basketball tournament. All right, we're pleased to be joined on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware Hotline by our good friend Henry Greenson. Henry, good morning. How are we doing today?
I'm doing just fine. You know, it's that time of year. The weather's becoming pretty pleasant, and of course, there's postseason basketball impending. So, one of my busiest times of the year for sure, but I'm trying to embrace it as much as I can.
Yeah, understandably for sure there, Henry. Absolutely. Is this your favorite time of year, would you say? Favorite time of year overall?
Once it gets to the NCAA tournament, yes. The Big 12 tournament, just basically since I got here, has kind of been a non-entity because I don't know. KU hasn't been seriously competitive in either of the Big 12 tournaments the last 2 years. But the NCAA tournament absolutely is my favorite thing to cover all season, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where the Jayhawks end up and whether they can make a run because, as Bill Self's been saying all year, this team's ceiling is still higher than anything they've shown to this point. There's more unknown surrounding this team than basically any other team at this point in the season. So, there's a level of excitement and uncertainty, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all pans out. And of course, also it's just fun to cover anything where you get to be in the same place for multiple days at a time and see a bunch of good basketball. So looking forward to that for sure.
Henry, is this season been one of the more fascinating ones to cover when you look back at it from where we sit right now to when the season began, and you look at the storylines both on the floor and off the floor and how things have kind of gone, the dips and the valleys and the peaks? Has this been one of the more entertaining seasons to follow for Kansas men's basketball?
Yeah, I think so. And that's probably for a few reasons. I mean, when you look at it from one perspective, yes, it's been pretty irritating. The whole Peterson saga has not been the most fun thing to cover of all time because it's just for many months it was just constant, unceasing yet slightly varied injury updates, and that wasn't always the most fun to have to document. But on the other hand, I don't know, just in general, the vibes around this team have been pretty good. A lot of guys who are fun to talk to, who are fun to watch on the court. When you think about Council and White, a lot of interesting players at the periphery who have developed in some ways, but still have more work to do in that respect. A lot of interesting big wins, maybe some that people didn't expect. And when you think back to a game like Arizona last month, it's like you can still see milestones in the history of Allen Fieldhouse after 71 years. So the first time they had beaten the number one team there, obviously. So, definitely a no shortage of entertainment this year. And the continued uncertainty that I alluded to earlier means there's still a lot of intrigue even at this late stage of the season. It's not like going in last year, I think there was maybe not as much interest from the broader KU fan community about how that team was ultimately going to perform. This season, even if KU ends up a 4 seed, feels like the sky's the limit. So, yeah, it's definitely been an entertaining year for sure.
Hendrik Greenstein, our guest from KUSports.com, the Lawrence Journal World, joining us on the Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware hotline. Yesterday they had the All Big 12 team and honors handed out. Kansas was very well represented across those honors. Probably highlighted most by Flory Baduga being the defensive player of the year, Melvin Council being the newcomer of the year. What were your thoughts when you saw what was handed out? I thought it was pretty fair to what KU got there.
Yeah, I agree. I think Flory's improvement has been staggering, and I honestly think he might have been a better choice for most improved player than Christian Anderson because Christian Anderson was already really good last year, frankly. So that was one thing that stuck out to me. But yeah, absolutely as a defender. I mean, Flory's ability not only to protect the rim in the way you'd expect out of an athletic guy with long arms, but also to switch onto the perimeter. That's what makes KU's defense go. That's the reason why they've been pretty good defensively this year, is because they can switch 5 effectively because of Flory's his lateral quickness and his agility, and the fact that guards keep getting switched onto him and trying to use it as a mismatch, and they end up getting blocked and completely shut down. So yes, Flory is Defensive Player of the Year, very well deserved. I could have seen that going to either him or Motias Privas from Arizona, but I think it's good that Flory ultimately got that. The Darren situation with second team and all freshman team, that's just kind of what happens when you miss 11 games. He's obviously been one of the most productive scorers in the league when he has been healthy, but he could have better numbers if he had, played full games in more than like 7 conference games this year or whatever. So understandable that it worked out that way, even though he is undoubtedly one of the 5 to 10 most talented players in the league and would be on the first team if things had gone normally. And then counseling Nico every year was interesting to me. Obviously, he's an incredibly important player to the Jayhawks in ways that go beyond the stat sheet. And I think the coaches acknowledge that by giving him that honor. Excuse me. But what's funny to me is he didn't find his way onto any of the all-conference teams. And there are other newcomers. There are 4 other newcomers who are on all conference teams. When you think about guys like Bob Miller from Cincinnati, Cam Carr from Baylor, and Seamus Folks from UCF. So the fact that he didn't make it on one of those is kind of a weird quirk of the way that the voting works. But clearly got a plurality of coaches to consider the newcomer of the year. And then the one thing that Bill Self said he was disappointed about on his radio show yesterday was that Trey White didn't get any sort of distinction. But as Self also acknowledges, it's increasingly hard to get a coach to consider you one of the top 15 players in a given league when there's 16 teams in the league, so 80 starters, and it's very easy to start listing incredibly elite players and get to 15. So on the whole, I thought it was pretty fair. And the fact that Flory and Melvin ended up with those honors just shows how much they've exceeded maybe what was expected of them at the start of the season.
When you look at this Big 12 tournament and you see the path that Kansas has, what did you think of it when you first saw the bracket?
Well, my first thought was, man, we got a 8:30 p.m. tip off again.
Late
because
night.
The last 2 years, KU has ended up at 8:30 p.m. as the 6th seed. This year, made it all the way up to 3 seeds, still get 8:30 p.m. And if they win on Thursday, they'll play at 8:30 p.m. again on Friday. So it's not great news for those of us with print deadlines to adhere to. But no, I mean, BYU did KU a huge favor by beating Texas Tech because, in my opinion, if KU ends up playing if KU's the 4 seed ends up playing number 5 seed Iowa State in its first game at T-Mobile Center, there's a very strong chance that Jayhawks go one and done compared to playing TCU, or who knows? I mean, TCU could get upset by Oklahoma State or Colorado. But there's a much easier path for KU going through potentially TCU and Houston to get to the final as opposed to Iowa State and Arizona. That's just an incredibly dramatic difference. And I understand TCU is the hottest team in the league right now, but they've also been wildly inconsistent and had losses to some of the worst teams in the league. And going back in non-conference, they also have lost to some really bad teams outside of the league. So it's a lot more possible that KU could catch TCU on an off night than it is to catch Iowa State on an off night, which they really haven't had all that many of this season. So I think the draw ended up working out pretty nicely for the Jayhawks. Securing the double bye was very significant after that stumble in Arizona. Didn't hurt them all that much, as it turns out. The only thing about it is, a win over TCU, that's a tournament team, but it maybe doesn't do as much for your overall seeding if you get it, as opposed to beating someone like Iowa State. So not a game by which KU can gain as much in terms of their positioning for the rest of March. But it's an easier path if you want to win a Big 12 tournament title, for sure.
Does winning a Big 12 tournament title matter anything? Or is it something on the minds of the team, or is it just another couple of games to get you prepared for the big dance?
Well, I know KU fans have a bit of a love-hate relationship with the Big 12 tournament, and in many years have largely hoped to just kind of ignore it however possible. But this team, I don't know. I mean, I certainly think that they'll be excited to have a chance to prove their mettle and to show that they rank among the best teams in the country. And as I was saying earlier, this can be really important for them when you think about just how little time comparatively they've had to all play together with a healthy Darren Peterson this year. I understand at this point that he's played in 20 games, but you have to think about the fact that in the majority of those games, he was basically absent for most of the second half. That includes, by the way, his career high, 32, was against TCU, but he came out of that game early and forced him to come back in and draw a foul and shoot those 3 free throws, send it to overtime. Then he didn't play in overtime after that. But all that is to say, like, this team, to me, and I think Self would probably feel the same way, needs all the time together that it can get to try to maximize its potential entering the tournament. And so these relatively low stakes games against high level competition, I would say bring them on because the more that this team can learn how to be aggressive with Peterson in the lineup and not just kind of stand around and wait for him to do stuff, and likewise, the more ways that Peterson can become the primary scoring option but still find ways to make his teammates better, that will go such a long way toward allowing KU to become something like what this team was envisioned to be at the start of the season.
Henry Greenstein, our guest from KUSports.com, the Lawrence Journal World. Do you have any thoughts on the basketball floor they're using at the Big 12 tournament with the glass?
I have a number of thoughts. I think that a postseason tournament is not the best venue to debut a technology like this. I think that's probably my number one thought. Do I think it's extremely cool? Yes. Am I intrigued by its possibilities? Yes. Are its greatest possibilities for making money by having like sponsorships and things? Also, yes. Does it really serve the players in any way? Not particularly. I think it's an interesting phenomenon. I wasn't aware that such a thing existed before they started doing this. And I like that the Big 12 has been at least receptive to feedback in a sense that they got rid of the design with all the XIIs on it. The Roman numeral one from last year that they started out on the first day of the women's tournament using. They've at least simplified it. Now it's just kind of gray for no reason, but gray with more of a hardwood pattern. So that's an improvement. But I don't know, like the way they were promoting this was, man, look, you can switch through and see all the court designs from the various home arenas, but they're not using any of those. So I'm not really sure what the point of that was.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is ultimately just like a way to create activations for your sponsors, I think. And good on them, because I think that's a really good money-making solution. And I understand why you want to do it at a high-profile event, but I don't know. Players have complained about this court being slippery. Bill Self has said yesterday, because KU went over and tested it out early because Self was advised that was a good thing to do. So they took advantage of the fact they're close by, went over and tested it out yesterday for about half an hour, and he said it didn't have as much traction as the courts they were used to. Sure enough. So I just think it's weird to have your player base have to get used to a different surface on which to play basketball for what is supposed to be like the biggest exhibition of your league in the month of March. That said, I don't know, the video court thing is kind of cool. It's just maybe something that will take a little getting used to for all involved.
Yeah, that's for sure. Before we let you go, Henry, what are your thoughts on what Kansas can do in this tournament to help their seeding in the big time tournament? Is there any, I mean, of course, obviously win the whole thing, but how much of an impact do you think that would be? Or do you think they're kind of locked in at that 3, 4, 5 range?
Well, I don't think they can get out of that range at this point. I think they'll be in there. And I also think it's unlikely that they will be a 5. I understand CBS has them as a 5 and maybe a couple others, but I don't know, with the quality of win they've picked up, they have a better quality of win than anyone else in the Big 12. It's really hard for me to imagine they could end up on the 5 line when it comes time for the committee to select. But yeah, they can move around on 3 and 4 for sure. I think that, like I said, the movement will probably be lessened by the fact that they didn't get Iowa State, or at least the potential for upward movement. But TCU, that'll still be a quad 1 game, as I understand it. So that's something. I think they cost themselves a lot by losing at Arizona State, frankly. That as bad as the Cincinnati loss at home was, the ASU one was just kind of I don't know, it feels like an unforced error that depleted them further and created another blemish on their resume at a time where they were kind of gearing up to make a run. And so that's why they find themselves on the 4 line now, and ultimately they will probably be on the 4 line on Selection Sunday. But you know, if they beat TCU and then beat Houston, and some other things fall their way in terms of some of the teams that are near them in the standings, absolutely they could find their way back up onto a 3. So it's not the most exciting weekend ahead from a seeding standpoint, but there's still room for movement for sure.
Henry Greenstein, KUSports.com, the Lawrence Journal World. Henry, it's always great to have a conversation with you, my friend. Thanks again for the time. Best of luck getting that deadline done before that on the next couple of nights. All right, best of luck on that.
Yeah, yep. It'll be a challenge for me, but more so for our page designers, for whom I feel a great deal of pity. Thank you for having me as always, and enjoy the rest of your week.
Once again, you too. Once again, great stuff there. Henry Greenstein, our guest here on the Morning Blitz. Great to have him on and visit with him about everything going on with KU Sports for sure. But let's get to our first break. When we come back, we will be looking at NFL free agency and some other headlines that caught my eye yesterday. We'll get to that next as we wrap up the show here on a Tuesday.
Get ready for a weekend full of ideas to make your home and living better. Join us for the NWKS Radio 35th Annual Home and Better Living Show happening March 20th through the 22nd in the main gym of the Colby Event Center. You'll find vendors from across the area, live demonstrations, and plenty of inspiration for your home and lifestyle all in one place. Admission to the Home and Better Living Show is completely free. Make plans to stop by March 20th through the 22nd for the 35th Annual Home and Better Living Show at the Colby Event Center. We'll see you there.
The days are getting longer, the roads are calling, and it's a great time to upgrade your ride at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Right now, get 1.9% APR for 36 months on a 2026 GMC Terrain, the perfect SUV for wherever the road takes you. Need a truck? Take advantage of up to $7,000 in rebates on a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 with eligible trade-in. And for serious capability, get $500 bonus cash on a new 2026 GMC 3500. See the full lineup today at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland or online at hurlchev.com.
You can feel it in the air. Longer days, greener lawns, and plenty of projects waiting around the house. Good thing Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland has you covered. Freshen up your home with Benjamin Moore paint, tackle the yard with powerful Ego battery tools, and give your lawn the boost it needs with Stage 1 Ultimate Fertilizer. Thinking about cooking outside? Check out their great selection of grills, griddles, smokers, and outdoor living essentials. And remember, if you need it, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware probably has it. They eat and have milk. Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware in Goodland and Colby, your place for just about everything.
Craving something delicious? McDonald's has you covered. From hot, fresh breakfast to juicy burgers and crispy fries, there's something for everyone, any time of day. And don't forget to try our classic McCafe coffee or refreshing McFlurry. Visit us in Colby, Goodland, Burlington, and Lamar for fast, friendly service and the flavors you love. Drive through, dine in, or order ahead on the McDonald's app. We'll have it fresh and ready. McDonald's. I'm loving it.
When it comes to electrical work, Lore Electric does more. Whether it's wiring your home, lighting up your business, or powering your farm, Zach and the crew have you covered. From energy-saving LED upgrades to setting up grain bins in the field, Lore Electric handles residential, commercial, and ag projects with expert care. And when you call, they'll actually call you back fast. For top-notch service and serious know-how, call Lore Electric because they don't just do more, they care more at Lore Electric.
From drive-through banking to mobile deposit, we make it easy to get things done on your schedule. Banking should fit your life, not the other way around. This is Jessica Von Lintel at F&B Bank. Banking made simple.
In a small town, your banker should know more than just your account number. They should know your name. At F&B Bank, we believe in real conversations, friendly faces, and decisions made right here at home. I'm Paige Sneathen, Vice President at F&B Bank, and we're proud to serve your family like our own. Member FDIC.
It's not just sports, it's your morning game plan.
I don't even believe you have a plan. I have part of a plan. That is not a plan.
This is the Morning Blitz.
Thanks again to Henry Greenstein for joining the program today. If you missed any of that conversation, go back, download the podcast, listen to the show again if you choose to do so. You may notice, once again, if you're just tuning in, no Connor Shue was informed yesterday after the show that he was leaving and taking a job over east in minor league baseball. So for the foreseeable future, you have just yours truly to chat with. Thanks again, though, to the EpiBank text line for keeping me on point. Talking NFL free agency here. Michael, our great listener, talking about the Broncos, says that George Payton and Coach Payton were in on Travis Etienne, but $13 million for 4 years was way too much. And so He says he's happy with J.K. Dobbins getting re-signed. And so, yeah, we'll see. That was, they said. And then I think that he thinks the 30th pick will be linebacker C.J. Allen out of Georgia, which is one of the reasons why they cut Greenlaw, according to Michael. Could be. And thank you to Jared H. He chimed in with says NFL free agency officially starts tomorrow at 4 Eastern time. Thank you. I mean, you couldn't tell yesterday by all the breaking news of NFL moves that are taking place. Some other interesting moves that I found fascinating yesterday. One of them was a little bit later on in the day. Mike Evans, wide receiver from the Buccaneers, he's going to for the 49ers on a 3-year, $60 million deal, which is amazing. Mike Evans is definitely getting up there in age. Giants signed tight end Isaiah Likely, who I thought was always pretty good for the Ravens. I thought that was a fascinating signing that I saw yesterday. The Titans got John Franklin Myers, who was a Bronco, signed him to a 3-year deal. Travis Etienne went to the Saints, 4 years, $52 million. Giants wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson went to the Titans. Raiders center Tyler Lindenbaum, 3 years, $81 million, going to the Raiders. That was nuts. It's an unbelievable deal by the Raiders, who, by the way, are the top spending team in free agency so far. They've spent over $322 million, and the next highest one is the Titans at $270. So the Raiders are spending like freaks here in the offseason to try and rebuild that roster, and to an extent it kind of makes sense. But I think one of the more interesting signings of the entire day yesterday was the news that the Dolphins were letting go of Tua, and he's going to the Falcons on a 1-year deal, and the Dolphins are bringing in on a 3-year, $67 million deal with $45 million guaranteed Packers backup Malik Willis, a guy who has done just some backup duty, started a few games. This is interesting. They think that he could be the quarterback of the future, is the way it looks like to me, as they're bringing him in on a 3-year deal. That was a fascinating one. How about the news of Colts wide receiver Alec Pierce signing a 4-year, $116 million deal, which I think was like the highest ever for a free agent wide receiver. Just nuts, the amount of money that's getting thrown around to some of these guys if they're worthy of it. So, but those were some of the big ones, joined by Kenneth Walker and the Chiefs, I thought were some of the big moves yesterday across the NFL. And like I said, the Raiders are just spending a ridiculous amount of money. They're the highest spending team in free agency. The Chiefs are the 10th. Chargers are the 8th. The top 4 is Raiders, Titans, Panthers, Commanders. And top 3 of those teams definitely need to spend money because they have not been very good. That is for sure.
High drive, deep left, grand slam, and back lifts his ball deep to right. How about a walk-off Brady? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there. Hardman. Jackpot. Kansas City.
The World Baseball Classic continues to roll along, and Team USA holds on for a 5-3 win yesterday over Mexico. Bobby Witt Jr. with some great plays on the defensive side. Paul Skeens was electric. Aaron Judge had a big homer. Roman Anthony, the Boston Red Sox outfielder, with a big-time bomb as well in that win yesterday for Team USA, who's 3-0. It's been great crowds, great energy in those places. But there was a great story I saw come across on social media yesterday. So there's a pitcher for Czechia, Andre Satori. He threw 4 2/3 shutout innings against Japan in the World Baseball Classic. He's not even a professional baseball player. He's a full-time electrician. You know, it'd be like your local electrician going out and throwing 4.2 innings in a massive crowd in front of a huge audience. He's a full-time electrician. That is super cool. Great story. Absolutely love it. That is super sweet. Some of the stories you find in the World Baseball Classic. That'll do it for our program today. Thanks to Henry Greenstein. Thanks to you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow in 23 hours. Hope you join us. It's been The Blitz.
Rock